episode 33 of the Hunt Backcountry podcast, presented by Exo Mountain Gear. This episode's a little bit different. Steve and I are joined by our good friend Tyler Crockett, and we talk about the Northwest Mountain Challenge. For those of you that are unaware, this is a special archery shoot that's happening this year in Idaho, Washington State, as well as Oregon. So if you guys are out west, near those states, in those states, you either want to compete or just come out and have an absolute blast shooting your bow for a weekend, you're going to be interested in this episode. If you're here just to become a better hunter and want the usual hunting tips and things like that we normally share, we don't get into much of that in this episode, but be sure to tune back into the next episode. We have something really awesome coming up, talking about some gear. So anyway, on to this week's show. Hope you enjoy. All right. Well, we are joined with Tyler and Steve. How you guys doing today?
Good.
So Tyler, this is your first chance to jump on the podcast with us, but some of the guys who are familiar with Pure Elevation things might be familiar with you being from the videos and stuff like that. What you been up to, man? You been out shed hunting?
Yeah, I have been shed hunting, but of course you're never shed hunting as much as you want to go. Unfortunately, I can't be like my neighbors to the north and just collect firewood and sheds for a living. One day I hope to aspire to that.
It's one of the life goals, right?
It totally is. But yeah, man, I've been out hiking a little bit and not doing as good as I wanted to, but doing better than nothing, that's for sure.
Yeah. So you think you just weren't in the right spot at the right time? You think there's still anything holding on, you think?
Yeah, when we went out there, we're a handful of bulls holding, but you can always tell how good the spot is if you think you're, going into a new cool spot, how good it is by how many white horns are there.
Right.
And I was really bummed this last place I went, there wasn't very many white horns. So two things, either one, somebody gets in there and cleans it up really good, which is really impossible, or two, there's just not as many elk wintering there as I thought.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Cool. So the topic of the day is the Northwest Mountain Challenge. I want to get chatting with you about that. But first, Steve, let's start with you because this kind of all spiraled from something you started years back. So how did this shoot? What's the history of it? How did it get rolling and grow to where it is today?
So this would be the fifth year, two at Bogus, two at Tamarack. Yeah, so fifth year. So 5 years ago, for a couple of years I was wanting to do an archery shoot in the Boise area and more create like an event, right? Like something that people travel to and it's a big fun weekend. There's a lot of things going on outside of just the archery shoot itself and also make the courses a little bit more fun than what I was, doing as far as kind of local 3D shoots, more challenging, kind of get up in the mountains, have some different terrain. So it took a couple of years. Bogus Basin is a ski resort right outside of Boise here, and I was in contact with their ski guy who ran the events. And it took a couple of years of like, hey man, this is something I want to do. This is legit. It's not like, we're not just going to have 10 people show up to this. And finally was able to get it to happen. In that first year, I knew I couldn't do it alone, so I partnered up with a guy named TJ. He owns the local archery shop, Dead On Archery here in Boise area. So we partnered together on that the first 2 years, and it was a crazy amount of work, way more than I thought it was going to be, but ended up being really fun. And then 2 years ago, the shoot just keeps continuing to grow and demand for it. And so Tyler came on as a partner with TJ and I. It's an awesome event. It's kind of I'm not saying it's a charity thing, but it's kind of a way to give back to like the local community and just have a really cool event that people just show up at and enjoy a good family weekend.
Yeah, for sure. So when did it grow beyond? Obviously it moved from, just the Boise area specifically, moved up to Tamarack, but then you guys went out of state. Tyler, when did it jump over to Hoodoo?
Well, as kind of adding on to Steve's backstory, when Steve's always been like an idea floats across Steve's lap, and you know this about him. He's not like a talk about it for a couple of years. He's like, I'm gonna freaking do that
yesterday.
And so he and I actually had a conversation before Bogus, and I told him, man, I want to put a shoot on at Tamarack. This is awesome. It's such a cool place. And he's like, that'd be cool to do on Bogus. Well, in the meantime, I'm having conversations for like 4 years with Tamarack because I'm not getting on it, and Steve's like, he freaking does it, you know. and we had talked about having a challenge, you know. That's kind of where it got the Northwest Mountain Challenge, because we thought, man, if we can do one there and I can get one going, get off my butt and get one going up here, then great, we'll kind of have this thing. Well,
Yeah.
like Steve said, kind of outgrew Bogus. Things changed a little bit there, and that didn't work out anymore. So we lost one of our mountains, and like, hey, let's just team up and blow this thing up.
Yeah.
And so in doing so, I know Steve's got like 500 irons in the fire all the time. I only have about like 400. And when we came up here, I instantly kind of like, oh man, this could be something super cool. And from the beginning, I think I've had this vision of having this awesome Triple Crown up here, like not just your local archery club Triple Crown, but a 3-state big Triple Crown. And of course, Steve, he's all whatever, go for it, let's do it. I'll be involved as much as I can, and that's kind of, we just started looking for other cities. And Ty Stubblefield from Born and Raised and Josh Keller, they kind of dropped a bug in their ear, and they were all for it to kind of be the boots on the ground there. And this year,
so that was the Hoodoo. We introduced Hoodoo last year.
That was last year's
Josh and
first
Ty.
year.
Yeah.
Yep. And so going there to add our third Triple Crown, a awesome customer and friend of ours, Brock Akers from Washington, he, you know, Steve thought he'd be an awesome guy to have on the ground up there in Washington. He's put on a bunch of train to hunts. He knows how to organize events and get sponsors. So we contacted him, and he was all for it. He's like, you bet, man, let's do it. So that was our third leg.
Yeah. That's awesome. So just this year, for the first time, you're finally getting to the Triple Crown end goal that you've wanted to get at for quite a while.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So before we forget to, and you know, we'll link to the website and everything else, but so the Tamarack shoot is June 24th through 26th. Stevens Pass, Washington will be July 22nd to 24th. And then over Hoodoo, Oregon will be July 29th to 31st. That's correct?
Correct.
Cool. So we're jumping, you know, at the big picture, talking about the Triple Crown. We'll get back down to the nitty-gritty of each event, but let's go ahead and talk about the Triple Crown while we're doing that. So clearly, to be the Triple Crown winner, you have to participate in all three events, right? What's the other sort of details or ideas behind that Triple Crown portion of the competition, Tyler?
Well, yeah, we definitely have to made it to where you have to compete in all three events, because really, if you just competed in two, you probably wouldn't get a win anyways. I don't think a person could, like, score-wise shoot that good. So you have to go to all three. And we thought it'd be a cool way to get people, just the same crowd, the same crew, all the same people. I mean, the camaraderie at these shoots are awesome. And that's one of the cool things to see. The same people, the same faces showing up all the way, you know, in Oregon or Washington. And ultimately would love to get it to where these Triple Crowns, I mean, I'd love to see these guys come win $5,000, you know, at these things, and hopefully we'll get there one of these days. But yeah, it's on this year, the Triple Crown, and hopefully we get everybody to come to all three of them. Yeah.
So the Triple Crown is there's basically, you'll have 2 scores at each event, at each of the 3 weekends, right? And so there's 6 scores total going to determine the Triple Crown winner. Is that how it works?
Correct. We'll have 2 competitive courses at each shoot, and your combined total on the 2 courses at all 3 shoots for a total of 6 scores. The combined total in each class will be the top shooter of those.
Okay. Awesome.
What classes do we got, Tyler?
We got men's bow hunter and hunter, men's and women's bow hunter, and men's and women open, which is, you know, the open class is basically your target bow guys, your magnified, your longer than 12-inch stabilizers. I respectfully call them guys like the shirt shooters.
Yeah.
They're the cool guys that show up with all the fancy shirts and shoot lights out. And then we got the same as the youth. We got the youth open and the youth bow hunter. classes, and I think that's our classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Do
So
we have a youth open in Bowhunter? Pause.
Yeah, we do. We do have a
We
youth
do?
open bow hunter.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought we just had a youth.
I'm pretty sure. I'm here. Let me look. Pause. That's funny. I'm pretty sure we do because
they're both listed on the site. What's that guy doing the site?
youth bow hunter, and youth open. Yep, we got one of
Okay.
each.
Okay. All right. Cut back in. Sorry.
So then the two youth classes as well. Awesome.
Yep.
So we should say again, I guess we'll get to the details of the event now, but the Triple Crown is one thing. I mean, that you obviously have to hit all 3 events. Clearly, if you don't do that, we still want you to come out and shoot 1 or 2 of the events, whatever you can do. And then even if you're not a competitor, even if you're not one of the shirt shooter guys, or even if you're a bow hunter but you just don't want to compete, should you still come out for the weekend and try and enjoy yourself, Tyler?
Oh yeah, totally. This is such a family shoot. I mean, there's a handful of guys that come competitively, but much like your local archery club shoots, it's like the family shows up with the little kids plinking their bows and mom and dad in their camo, and just enjoying the weekend. I mean, it's a total family thing. We're talking about having a slip and slide at Tamarack this year, just because last year was like 105 degrees.
I was going to say, if the weather's like it was last year, you better have a slip and slide.
I want to get some traditional bows with like foam tips too, so people can shoot the people sliding by on a slip and slide.
That'd be awesome.
Seriously,
trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
We make this thing totally. I mean, it is not your normal shoot. I mean, like you had mentioned, the Full Draw Film Tour. We've had concerts at them. Why not throw a slip and slide in there? It's just anything to make it cool and different and unique.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, the Boise one's really cool. The first shoot up in Boise is cool because it is in conjunction with the Full Draw Film Tour downtown Boise, which is the Thursday night before the shoot. So it's great. You have hundreds and hundreds of bow hunters. I was really shocked at the turnout of the Full Draw Film Tour last year.
Yeah,
it's awesome to see.
Theater was sold out last year. It's crazy. I think it holds like 750 people. So to have that many bow hunters in one room all watching films is a pretty awesome experience.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And we'll be talking to the guys from Full Draw Film Tour on the podcast here really soon as well. So you got, at least for the Boise event, you got that Thursday, and then the shoot, for all 3 weekends, the shoot runs Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on each day. Tyler, what's up on Friday at each of the shoots?
Well, Friday, I should almost let Steve explain Friday because it's ultimately his brainchild that developed this shoot, and it's outgrown. It's almost grown more than what Steve wanted to. But I'm like, oh man, this is awesome, and I think I finally got him realizing how awesome this monster he made is. Because it is cool. Steve, you explain what you do. It's your child, I'm going to call it, because it's awesome, and it's like a big hit.
Yeah, so Friday night, it actually wasn't my idea. It was just suggested to me. We do a glow stick shoot. This guy, Donnie Drake, came up to me and was like, man, you should really do a shoot in the dark with glow sticks and lighted knocks. And I was like, oh, that is freaking genius. So basically Friday, people could show up at 5 o'clock, kind of lazy, relaxed registration table and go shoot the night course in the practice range. And then when it gets dark Friday night, we have the glow stick shoot, which is basically we go out with glow sticks and light the trail for the course. It's a 10-target course, and then put these big bright flashlights on the vitals of every target. And then people show up, register, buy their lighted knocks. We always have lighted knocks there for sale if you don't have them with you already, and go shoot the course. And it's like, every time I get a kick out of just walking the course there in the dark, because just grown adults are giggling like little children, just having so much fun, So that usually runs to like midnight, 1 a.m. by the time things clear out of there. And then Saturday, we kind of jump right into the shoot, the actual shoot where all the courses open up. Registration kicks off at like 7:30, 8 a.m., something like that. And this year, we've kind of always struggled with the competition as far as how, my first idea for the shoot was I just wanted this to be a really fun atmosphere where you could shoot with your buddies but still kind of have a competition for some real money. And we kind of get pushed back because some people accuse others of cheating and this and that. So this year, we kind of finally caved in, and we're going to flight the competition. So everybody has to, if they want to be a competitor, they have to pre-register. just jump on the website, and it's definitely the best way to do it as far as it's just simple and easy on the website. You show up, we hand you your scorecards, you're good to go. And so a week before the shoot, we're flighting it. We're going to email you, tell you, hey, you're going to be 8:30 a.m. on the Pure Elevation course. You're going to be starting, and you're going to be shooting with like 4 strangers. Passing, you all exchange scorecards, so nobody can be accused of cheating. And then the courses, so all the competitors will go up, and like the Pure Elevation course on Saturday will be closed to like general public shooting from probably about 8 to 11 a.m. And then the Dead On Archery course will be the same thing on Sunday. So competitors will go shoot, turn in their scorecards when they're done, and then we always do a shoot off, which is kind of the highlight of the shoot. Of we take the top people from each class and basically line them up. And last year was really cool because we actually had a youth boy win the overall shoot because he outshot the men's open guy. We just start at like 40 yards and just start backing up 10 yards at a time until they shoot out of the 10 ring. So we'll do a shoot off, and that's usually like in the evening on Saturday. And other than that, during the day, Saturday is really just fun. All the other 2 courses in the morning are open. You don't even, you have a scorecard, but you can just go shoot and enjoy yourself. And then, Tyler, what's Saturday night looking like?
As far as what we got going on? Yeah. So it's gonna be super cool. Once we get done, everybody's gonna kind of hustle through and get all the courses shot. Eliminating one of the competition courses, I think, will free everybody up and not make it as pressured to hurry and get down. And but as soon as people roll off the hill, we're basically gonna have like a happy hour. We're gonna get some free beer, some free soda kind of thing, and just let people roll off the hill, relax, and drink some beer, drink some soda, and get ready for the big, gather around, watch the big shoot off, and just have a big social hour, man. Just a big social happy hour until the Corey Jacobson's going to do an elk calling seminar here at Tamarack, and we'll roll right into the Full Draw Film Tour. And then at Hoodoo, I'm not sure what we're doing at Hoodoo yet. And then at Stevens Pass, we've got Jason Phelps doing an elk calling seminar up there.
Oh, perfect.
So we've got some educational stuff, some seminar stuff, and I mean it's not a lacking. Neither one of them are going to be lacking anything really that you'd want.
We got the BHA raffle.
Oh yeah, I forget. And the BHA,
one of
our
biggest
awesome,
and the best events.
Yeah, one of our awesome platinum sponsors, BHA's just stepped up huge and partnered with us on these shoots, and they're going to come run the raffle of all raffles. I mean, our raffle, we have thousands of dollars worth of raffle items at these raffles. In fact, I don't know if I've ever been to a raffle that compares to our raffles that we have at these shoots. I really don't think I have.
Yeah, it's like I think last year we gave like 5 bows away over the whole shoot.
It was like 5 bows and a ton of stuff from Vortex. I mean, spotting scopes and binoculars, and I mean, it just went on and on.
Yeah. Huge. If we had to put $1 to the amount of, I mean, I'd say at Tamarack we probably had 20 plus thousand worth of gear and stuff to raffle away.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing too, I kind of forgot to cover there is we're on Saturday and Sunday. We'll be running some novelty courses up at Tamarack. So we're going to have like a novelty course at Mid Mountain. I guess I can go back and cover Tamarack layout real quick. The registration table is kind of down at the bottom of the mountain, this big grassy hill or hillside. And then you just walk a little bit, you jump on the lift, and that takes you to Mid Mountain. And from there, our Pure Elevation course goes up. So it's like a 3-mile loop. You climb about 1,200 feet, and you loop back to the lift. And then the Dead On Archery course and Elk 101 courses kind of go down from the lift, and you hike all the way back down to registration. So anyways, right there at Mid Mountain, we're going to do like a little 5-target novelty shoot where you're going to pay $5 for 5 arrows or something like that and have a chance to win. I know we'll have like an XO pack in there, some Vortex, I believe a Vortex spine scope, just some other really, really cool prizes. And it'll be kind of like a smoker round style shot where they're going to be pretty tough to make. And then we'll have a pop-up course down at the registration area as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we've talked a little bit, about the multiple courses and mentioned, things such as Pure Elevation course is going to be closed for a few hours Saturday morning, but but then the folks who aren't competing, they can go ahead and shoot any of the, other multiple courses during that time. Let's talk a little bit more about the courses specifically, I guess, starting with Pure Elevation course. You mentioned, Steve, at least at Tamarack, it starts mid-mountain from the lift. It's multiple miles, definitely over 1,000 feet of elevation. So give us an idea of, the hiking involved, the effort involved, and then some of the shots that you might expect.
Yeah, so that first year doing the bogus shoot, one of my goals was like, I want to build a really tough course. It's going to be like hunting scenario. I want the shirt shooters to really struggle because they're going to have like a 36-inch stabilizer, and there's going to be shots over cliff edges and boulders in the way and trees in the way. And so the Pure Elevation course, they always end up being between 3 and 4 miles and 1,000 to 1,500 feet of elevation. And a lot of it's kind of straight up and straight down. And then, it's fun and it's a pain in the ass at the same time. Like Tyler and I will spend, he's up there now already skiing the mountain, trying to figure out the layout. And we put an enormous amount of effort in just finding the coolest shots that we can. We kind of set this loop that we want to do, and we hike that thing like 10 different times on the GPS, marking different, like, oh, this would be a cool shot off this edge, and we're going to shoot across this meadow side hill up here. And anyways, it's kind of fun to lay out the course, and we make it as challenging as possible. We do make it, it's hunting, so they're long shots, and some of them will be like last year we had like a 82 or 3 yard elk that was downhill, so it was probably it shot for 83 yards. So I think it was like 95 or something like that. So we make some tough shots, and definitely, we get some people every once in a while that show up in flip-flops and think they're just going to go walk the course real easy, and they get to the end and they're kind of pissed off. But, that's what it's about. It's a challenge, and if it's just like a walk in the park and shooting the same 30 yards over and over, nobody's getting better from that.
Yeah. And if that scares you guys away, if you were thinking of bringing your family, not all of the courses are like that.
Yeah, so we kind of scale it down where Pure Elevation's a little on the extreme side, and then the Dead on Archery course is going to be kind of moderate, and then the extreme elk course, or Elk 101 course, will be, a step down from that. Where in most of them, we kind of utilize a lot of the mountain biking trails up there, so the hiking isn't that technical. It is kind of long. All the courses are 3 miles long. It's far from, shooting a target, pulling your arrows, walking 50 yards and shooting the next one. You got 400 or 500 yards in between targets at times.
And if any of those 3 courses are too tough, we do have a kids course that are more than welcome to shoot.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
And any of those courses aren't tough enough. This year, it's just kind of a trial period. I'm calling it the XO Run Shoot Puke. We're going to take a small group of people up on the mountain. If anybody wants to do this, you can email me, and I'll get you in on the list with the information. But we're going to go shoot the Pure Elevation course. It's sunrise Saturday morning, and just show up with your bow and running shoes, because we're going to run the sucker and shoot it as fast as we can. It should be pretty fun. Hopefully by the end of it, you've thrown up.
I will be running, shooting, and probably puking.
I know Friday night there's no lack of beer drinking, so that will most likely happen.
You know what's funny, Mark, is we've had, it's kind of funny. Usually people don't complain. We don't get any complaints too much about the other courses. They are kind of longer than your standard 3D course, which is fine because we don't want to be your standard 3D shoot. We're like out of the box totally. And our Pure Elevation course, literally we've had have rescue missions to go get to go get people off of it because they bit off more than they could chew, and they maybe weren't quite physically up for it.
Yeah.
And had 4-wheelers go. Last year it was super hot. We literally had some emergency dehydration things. It was a weird year last year, but I kind of get it's sick of hearing oh, it's so hard. And people will shoot it, and then we'll get an earful about how ridiculous it was, and why would you have to walk 3 miles, for a bow shoot? And so at Hoodoo, and we'll have it at every one of them, we put a big sign, that says in big bold letters, physically demanding course, no whiners allowed. Exclamation mark.
Yeah, that's probably a good warning for some folks who aren't prepared. Hopefully if you're hearing this and coming to one of the shoots, then you know what you're getting into.
But it is fun. I mean, it's nothing ridiculous. It's nothing that you wouldn't do on a Western big game hunt.
No,
nothing.
yeah, and that's the thing is it's not. I think people just their expectations for going to a weekend archery shoot is so weak that when they have something that's real life, when they have something that takes some effort, when they have something that's a challenge, they just weren't expecting it, you know?
Yeah.
But for sure, it's a great way to test yourself, great way to see if you're ready for the season, great way to see how you handle not only shooting tough shots, but then shooting under a little bit of pressure. You know, even if you're not shooting for competition, if you're up there with your buddies, you know, you don't want to be taking crap for making bad shots all the time, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's good. It's a ton of fun for sure. So that's the Pure Elevation course. We talked about how tough it is, how fun it is. That's a course, again, you can shoot whether you're competing or not competing. If you are competing, again, just to reiterate, you got to pre-register. You'll be assigned a time for Saturday morning. So the other aspect of the competition would be Sunday morning, and that's on the Dead On archery course. What can you tell us about that, Tyler?
So rolling into Sunday morning, the Dead On Archery course, again, it'll be flighted like the Pure Elevation course. It's not as extreme, but everybody will get through, and all the shooters will get on and get up the lifts prior to everybody else so they can get up and get down the hill with their scores. Scorecards have to be turned in, again, so they can be there for the shoot-off that we'll have much similar to the night before for the Pure Elevation shoot-off. And that's where our champ will be crowned for that one. So
there, at each weekend event, there is a winner or a champion for the Pure Elevation course and a winner or a champion for the Dead On course?
Exactly.
Okay, so the scores aren't combined to have like one champion of the weekend, if you will.
Nope, only combined for the top shooter at the end of the top shooter of the the Triple Crown Award. But yeah, if someone could come and like if someone came and shot lights out and say he's a men's bow hunter and he can win the Pure Elevation course, he might win $300 or $400. Say he wins the shoot off, he wins another $500. Sunday morning he goes and shoots lights out again and wins the same thing. I mean, he ultimately can. It's going to be easy to walk out there with $2,000.
Wow!
If someone comes and shoots lights out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, some good money to win for sure.
That's a good payday. Come do that at Tamarack, and then your trips to Washington and Oregon to Stevens Pass and Hooter, they're paid for. Then you can be the Triple Crown champion.
Exactly. That's what I told Brad. We've had a couple people last year that a group from Washington and a local kid here that Steve mentioned earlier. Every one they go to, it's like one or the other is sharing the podium, and yeah, it was probably a good little source of summer income for them guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I guess we should mention too. We talked about kind of the classes of shooting versus open and bow hunter, and really it comes down to things like the stabilizer length and things like that, but. Amongst all those classes, can you kind of talk about scoring, rangefinders, or any other rules or details about shooting?
Yeah, I can hit that up. So scoring is real simple: 11, 10, 8, 5, 0. We do no mulligans. A lot of shoots you get that. Frankly, I kind of look at it like you don't get mulligans out hunting. Maybe you're lucky and you get to stop an elk a second time on a call or something. But so no mulligans. And then we also, different than most other shoots, we do allow rangefinders. I just look at it like, hey, out hunting, everyone's going to have the rangefinder with them. On the Pure Elevation course, we'd have crazy low scores just because of the distance and angles of some of the shots. So definitely rangefinders are allowed. And then I would highly recommend one with angle compensation because you're going to shoot high and low quite often on the Pure Elevation course if you didn't have that.
Yeah. So in, some tournament shooters for sure who are used to playing the 3D game, I mean, that's sometimes, more than 50% of doing well is judging yardage. But again, these aren't your normal courses. So if you're a guy who's interested in these shoots or interested in competing in the Triple Crown, the yardage aspect is taken out for you, which is, probably good for some guys, and guys who are great yardage guessers will maybe wish that everyone had to guess the yardage. But I know if I went and shot the Pure Elevation course, no rangefinder, I'd just be happy to hit foam, man. Like some of those shots, are freaking brutal.
You know, it's been important from the beginning that it's a shooting competition and not a yardage guessing competition.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rangefinder just comes down to shooting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, knowing the yardage down to the 10th of a yard, there's still so much work left to do, you know, with these courses, which makes it fun.
Yeah. So one other cool thing to hit is just the lodging and the places to stay up at Tamarack. Tyler, you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, at Tamarack, the lodging up there, of course, there's several options. One, there's several public campgrounds around the lake. Tamarack sits, for those that haven't been there, Tamarack sits above a lake there, and it's super beautiful. It's green. All these mountains are super cool to get up and look at. That's the awesome thing about these mountains. But there's public campgrounds that you need to go online, and you go on our website, and it links you to these public campgrounds to reserve RV spaces. And then also on the website, it links you to Tamarack Resort and the lodging that they have there. So you can go on there and rent a townhome. You can rent chalets, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms. And we're going to be getting a 20% discount on that. We should have our discount code up probably Monday or Tuesday next week so people can start reserving those. But there's no shortage of places to stay. So we've got RV space on the resort that's $10 a night. You can camp off the resort and have all your hookups. It's a dry camp on the resort. The chalets, the townhomes, and then we're working out with Tamarack to find some tent camping area too. So, I mean, there's not an excuse to not come as far as I don't have anywhere to stay, because there's literally a type of place to stay everywhere up there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
One thing I whenever someone asks me, I think the best deal is renting those townhomes and chalets. If you're coming over here with like a truck full of 5 of your buddies, you're talking $50 to $75 a person to have this awesome like 3-bedroom townhome for the weekend. It's crazy cheap, and they're really nice places. They're all 5-7 years old at the most. Granite countertops. I mean, it's just awesome, and most of them are walking distance to the registration area.
Yeah, and the lifts. I mean, you walk out the back and you're at the lifts in less than 200 yards.
Yeah,
for sure.
And it's a cool thing too up there is it is a they have, and it's kind of difficult to put an archery shoot on where they're having mountain biking, but say a husband wants to come and his wife's not into bow hunting, but she loves to ride trails on her mountain bike. I mean, she can come up, she can go ride the mountain bike, she can go lay on the beach down at the lake, and he can go shoot. I mean, there's so many different directions you can go up there. You can go play on the lake, Friday all day, and then bounce up there and go shoot the courses Friday night and Saturday. It's a 4-season resort that we're putting a bow shoot on at.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Oh, another thing we didn't hit on too along those lines is Tyler's one who really fought for this was having a daycare up there. Just because I think Tyler probably because you got 4 kids running around. But yeah, so I mean, anybody that's coming up and they got little kids, Tyler's wife runs that, and you can drop your kids off for 3-4 hours, go shoot a course, and it's pretty sweet little service that we do.
Yeah, it's funny because we would always say, "Oh man, I'd love to come, but we got the kids. We can't get up there." And well, that excuse is gone as well, because we literally have a child care, and the child care is you have to be self-dependent in the bathroom area, child, so can't really be little babies, but self-taker carers in the bathroom, and you can drop them off, and a mom and dad can go shoot the course. We feed them some lunch, and mom and dad can get away and go shoot a course by themselves if they want. It's a whole unique thing there that we do, and every year we get a bunch of kids there, and parents actually say to us, "Man, thank you so much. We wouldn't have been able to come if you didn't have this service."
Yeah, that is super neat. It's super neat to see just the young kids too that, get to go out and shoot, and, they're doing their little Fred Bear bows or whatever, but it's just awesome to see them on the mountain, and really just the whole community behind the event is neat.
All right. So another thing too is, we kind of all have our jobs within the shoot, and Tyler's been in charge of really contacting our sponsors and working with them. And I'll let Tyler kind of talk about that.
Well, if it wasn't for our awesome sponsors, from our platinum to our bronzes, honestly, I mean, we couldn't. There's no way we could do this because it's not cheap to rent a ski mountain. three of them, on top of that, and like our platinum sponsors, which I've got to just throw a shout out to, that are doing if not all three of them, one or the other. And Wilderness Athlete has stepped up huge again this year. They give us all this free hydrate and recover and energy and focus, and they got the coolers rolling there, and it's super awesome. They had to have went through 50 boxes of that last year. And Commercial Tire, a local tire company, they're from Boise, which they're one of our sponsors is Pure Elevation. Those guys are behind us, and they're super awesome guys. Camel Fire, Kindle Card, they came last year to the event the first time, and he thought it was a pretty awesome event, and he actually approached me about coming this year because he liked it so much. And so we're super glad those guys are partnered with us.
Sorry, I'll cut you. I was just gonna say, Camel Fire, they run a booth at Mid Mountain too with drinks and hydration. So if somebody goes up there and needs some water, they're right there for you.
Yep.
Yeah, they knock it out of the park for us up there. It's nice. It's what's funny. Kendall kind of thought that up on his own. Like, hey, how about putting one up there? And it was a hit. It was a hit having them guys up there. Hoyt is stepping up big time and going to get us some bows to give away, which is awesome. Kelly's Whitewater Park, a local whitewater park here. They have a bunch of features for kayakers, and which is funny because the kayaking tie-in with Orion Coolers, who's another sponsor of ours. That's who builds Jackson kayaks. So it's just interesting, that tie-in there. Vortex, again, Seamus over Vortex is always, he's been behind the chute from the beginning and blow it up for us. First Light and Cabela's this year stepping in as a platinum. They love what we're doing, and they're behind us at all three events, the Triple Crown. And, of course, BHA, Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. Those guys are going to run the raffle for us and give us manpower. So, those are our platinums, and the list keeps growing, too. It keeps growing, and without I just listed the platinums. Without them guys, the chute would be nothing, really.
Yeah. If you never get to that spot where you're collecting sheds and firewood for a living, Tyler, you'd make a great NASCAR driver. That's pretty good.
No, huh? Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, really. Our shirts, I do like. This is kind of cool. Like our first year shirt, we had one platinum sponsor on the back, and when it first started at Bogus, and then we moved to Tamarack, we had one platinum sponsor on the back. One big sponsor. Commercial Tire, which they've been with it from the beginning. And it's funny that every year we get more and more stuff that we have to put on the t-shirts because more people are hearing about the Northwest Mountain Challenge and they're wanting to become a part of it. And that's something that any listeners out there, we're not turning away sponsors. I'd love to be in contact with anybody that's interested in coming up and sharing space at any of the shoots. It's free vendor space with any level sponsorship.
At Tamarack, I think we probably had 30 vendors there. Like the guys from First Light are there, Commercial Tires there, Exo Mountain Gear. We have a booth there. We'll have a booth at Tamarack, and probably I'm going to personally drive up to Stevens Pass, so I'll be up there. I know I'm forgetting a bunch. I know Hoyt was there. Dead on Archery has a setup there. It's really cool just to be able to go talk with these guys and meet them. And most of these are direct representatives from those companies. And another thing is this year, I just remembered this, through SNS Archery, Rob is going to have an optics display. So we actually called
sweet.
up Swarovski, Vortex, Leica. I think that's the three. And we're going to have kind of all their high-end stuff Saturday night out on display. So guys can literally at twilight on the mountain, put a pair of Vortex razors next to some Swaro SLCs and compare the differences for themselves. So it's going to be a pretty cool, unique opportunity.
That's awesome. That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Cool. So to recap, you guys have 3 chances. You can come to Tamarack, Stevens Pass, or Hoodoo. Come to all 3, compete in the Triple Crown. The website for the Northwest Mountain Challenge is NW for Northwest, so just nwmountainchallenge.com. You find all the info about all the chutes there. Big thing to keep in mind if you're going to compete at any of the events or all of the events. If you're competing at any level, you have to pre-register. So to do that, just go to northwestmountainchallenge.com, choose the event. You'll see the options there to register and get tickets and all that. One thing I guess we can mention for sure while we're talking about that is just in terms of pricing. Can you kind of give the rundown on what pricing looks like just in terms coming to the event, shooting for the weekend, Tyler?
As far as what it costs to shoot, and it's going to be the same across the board at all three venues. For an adult to come up and shoot for a day, it's $30. For the weekend, it's $50. For the family, it's $80 for the day, $120 for the weekend. The youth is $25 and $40 for the weekend. A child, $15 for the day and $20 for the weekend. And just to come up and basically get on the lift and hang out and hold an umbrella for your awesome husband or wife is $10. Because we have to pay for the lift that way. And then the competition fees are pretty much across the board $40 for whatever class you choose to shoot in, except for the youth that steps down quite a bit for the youth.
Yeah. Okay. So pretty much, most individuals out there, $50. That's all 3 days of your shooting, and then tack on the competition fees if you want to go from there.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then the family that would include both parents, and then up to 2 children, and
Correct.
Then each additional child is just tack on like another $10. Is that right?
And the children have to be younger than 18. Like you can't have a
Your
mom
buddy.
and dad show up with their 2 40-year-old sons.
We do
Young
get a
children.
few of those every year. Unfortunately.
So you can have 18 years and younger can be included in your children, and for that.
Yeah. Awesome. So if they have any other questions, there's also a contact form on the website. Is that just the best way to ask any questions that we didn't cover through this?
Yeah, I think so. I've collected all those email addresses, which we'll put that in the database so that everybody can get updates and stuff. But yeah, that's the best way to get a hold of us and ask us things.
So if you're interested in any other sponsorship packages too, that contact us goes straight to Tyler and he'll get back to you right away.
Awesome. Well, my last recommendation, especially if you're going to come enjoy the weekend at Tamarack, saved the most important thing for last. Go eat at Cougar Dave's in Donley. Discovered that place by chance last year and it's awesome.
That's another thing is in town there's a motel. I mean, Donley's a small town, and there is 8 miles from the resort there is a motel, Boulder Creek Inn. That's another option if people don't have an RV or a tent or want to rent a chalet.
Yeah, cool. Good to know. Awesome. Well, I think that about covers it. So that's we obviously talked quite a bit about Tamarack specifically, but then Stevens Pass and Hoodoo, there's even more information coming on that. The lodging we will update on the site as well. It's kind of the same deal. There's going to be on-site options, especially for RVs and camping. We will list the hotels nearby and all that fun stuff. So get on, check out the website, check out the events. Hopefully you can make at least one of them. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and fill out that contact form, northwestmountainchallenge.com.